Hi, I'm Paul Seal from codeshare.co.uk. Welcome to episode 6 in this series where I'm showing you how to build a content management system in Umbraco. And today we're going to look at working with images and media. So we're using a template called Reflex. If you want to have a look at the template, it's codeshare.co.uk/reflex. If you want to follow along with the series, best thing to do is go back to episode 1 and you can start from the beginning. So with this episode, we're going to have a look at the media, especially what is on the elements page in the template that we've downloaded. So if we scroll down, lower down here to the bottom, it's got some usage of images. So we have a full width image here and then a grid of images. And then we've also got images within the content. So this one's left aligned image and this is right aligned image. So what we're going to do is set up the site to be able to display a grid of images and also to display images within the content, left and right. So let's get on to the first thing then. So I just want to show you media within Umbraco. So if we've logged into Umbraco and we go to media, now at the moment we've just got one media item and it's not in any folder, it's just within media itself. But the media section in Umbraco is quite good actually. So what we can do is we can create folders and we can organize our media. So if you hover over the three dots, so if you go to media, hover over the three dots, click on that, and you can create a folder. So I'm going to put one as homepage images. So this is just a homepage images folder, and I'm going to click on media, and then I can see I've got a folder and I've got an image. And what I want to do here is I want to move this image into that folder. So I can click on this grid view here and change it to list view. Then I can click on this icon at the side of the item and then I can choose an action. I think, oh no, I click on the item and choose an action, move, and then I choose the folder that I want to move it into. Click on OK. And now if we go back to media, we just have a folder, but in that folder we have this image. So that was the first part of this, is just to show you about how you've got different views, so you can see the grid view or the list view. If you've got multiple images, you can manage those by clicking on this. Usually you have some actions, so we've got the actions up here, and this is what we can do: move, sort, etc. So I'm going to have another folder called demo images, and in that I want to take some of these images in here. So I'm going to just copy image address. This is another good thing when you're uploading the image file. So I've clicked on demo images folder and I want to upload some files. I just click on choose here for files, and then I can paste this address in here. And what that will do is that will go to the URL, get the file, download the file temporarily, and then it will upload the file to the website. So that's pretty cool. So there's my first test image. I'm going to copy the image address of this one and do the same. So it's quite useful for that. So in theory you could just copy any image address and upload it into here. So it saves you having to download the file itself and do any of that messing about, downloading them all first. You can just add the image address and you can get those files. So it looks like I'm going to be repeating myself if I keep going too much with these, because I think I've got there are probably about 3 different variations of it. So I'll just see if this one's any different. Pick 3. Yeah. So I've got some sample images anyway, so we're going to use those. So what I want to do then is let's have a look at images within the content editor. So first of all, it's good to inspect what the markup is that we've been given. So if we scroll down to here and right click on the item, on the image, and click on inspect, what we can see is this image is actually within the p tag, and it's wrapped within a class, a span that has a class of image left. So image and left. So what we need to do is we need to find a way of being able to do that within Umbraco. How do we add an image, get it to have a class around it called image, and also have the class of left within that span? So let's go into Umbraco. Now, one thing we need to do is we need to go to data types, and we need to edit the rich text editor. And we need to allow it to have access to a style sheet which is specific for this sort of thing. But before we can do that, we need to create the style sheet. So we go to Settings, Style Sheets, Create, and I'm going to create a new style sheet called Editor Styles. Click on Create, and then I'm going to click on the dots next to that Editor Style Sheet, and I'm going to click on Create again. I'm going to call this image_left. Then I'm going to go and Create. So image_left, well, actually it doesn't have to be called image left, I'll just call it. But I want the alias to be .imageLeft. So this is going to add this class in a span. So it's got the dot in front of it, that means it's going to be a class. So if you wanted it to be an element, you would just like do H2 without any dot or anything like that. So let's see what happens with this then. So I'm going to go to the content on my generic page, and I'm going to actually copy this content here. So we'll just have a look. We've got a P with a span. I'm just going to remove that span. Good way to do this as well is just paste that in there, and then if you go back in again, it automatically just put a P around it. So that's good. And then I want to choose an image. So the image is that one there. So I'm at the front, choose Media Picker, Demo Images, and then click on that, hit Submit. So let's just look at the markup that's created. So it's created an image tag. It's got some sizes on it, and it's got a source and everything like that. I'll click on OK. So let's just save and publish that and see what it looks like to start with. So it doesn't look great. So it's not working in terms of the styling. It's the start of the paragraph doesn't look the same as it does here. If I was to inspect that and edit the HTML, so if I do edit as HTML on the P tag, then I can just put a span class equals image left. Close that span there, and then after the image, do closing span. Now let's have a look how that's changed the content. So now that looks perfect. So that's what we want to achieve. So if we go into the content again, we select the image, and then we choose from the formats drop down. Oh, we've not enabled that, so let's go and enable the styles. So that's what I was starting to do. So go to Developer, go to Rich Text Editor, and go to Editor Styles on the Style Sheets list, tick that, and then hit Save. Now we can go back to the content, and that means that in that drop down there of formats is going to have it. So click on the image, click on formats, and just choose image left. Have a look at the source code, and we've now got a class which is image_left. So I know it's not exactly image left, but it's image_left. I'm just going to, whilst I'm in this, just delete the underscore, click on OK. So I'll replace the underscore for a space, save and publish. Now this should work. So we should be looking exactly how it is there. Fingers crossed. Yes, so that's worked. So we've got the challenge of how do we get this class to be so it's almost like adding two classes in one. So there's two ways that I would think about doing this. So first way is, do we do two separate ones? So do we do an image one? So let's try this. So we'll just do image. Click on create, lowercase on that I there, and save. And then do we do another one called left? Click on create and then save. So let's try this way of doing it. So we go back to the content. So I'm going to just remove the markup from this for now. So I'm removing the span markup. So this isn't what you'd expect the people who are editing the website to do. This is just while we're setting it up. So at the moment, it doesn't have anything else around it. Let's click on the image, click on image, and click on left. So now, in theory, it's got both classes applied to it. So let's see if it's applied it in the same span, which it has. So that original idea that I was doing with underscore left doesn't need to happen. So I can do save and publish. We can refresh the page, and it works. So let's go and delete the image left class that we created. Delete that one, and let's do a right one as well. So again, I was just using the three dots on the editor styles. Click on create, and that's got a dot right. Save that. So now we can add this second paragraph, which is here. Let's just have a look at the markup and see what's happening. Does the image come first? I think it does. Yes, it does. So let's go into the content again. So we've got that paragraph there, and we want to add this paragraph. So as I said before, you can just paste it in there. So I'm just going to paste it in like that. So now we've got a second paragraph, and we want to put an image in on this and tell it to be image right. So let's have a look which image it's using. It's using that paler one. So we've got a paler one on here. So click on Media Picker, click on the paler square image, click on Submit, and then select the image and then choose Image and Right. Then save and publish. Just check the markup, make sure that it applied the correct markup, so it's done span, class, image, right. Fantastic. Save and publish that. And then refresh the page. And so we've been able to add images into the page like that. So I'm quite happy with that. Another thing we can do as well is when you're adding images, they might be quite big. So what you can do is you can drag them, you can change the size of them basically, and that uses the image cropper that I showed you before to sort out the sizing of it as it's rendered out. So we've got a bigger one there and a bigger than it was, but not as big as that one there. So that seems to work really well, and that was just by dragging it. So I'm quite happy with that. So moving on then, let's have a look at the skel markup that it produced on this elements page for the grid of images. So we just inspect, again, I like to just inspect using the browser. We could look at the code for this, but it's good to do it like this because you can hover over things and see where it's adding padding and margin and things like that. Anyway, so with this skel markup, it's very simple. It's all about the grid and the layout. So it's not a lot to do with, it's not as fully featured as Bootstrap. Again, it's just about the presentation on the page in terms of the structure of the page and the grid. So what we've got here is we've got an image that is image fit. Then we've got image fit again, but so this one was inside a 12U and then a $sign, I think. And this one here is in a 4U. So if we look at that, So this is basically working with a grid that is working with 12 column layout grid. So if you think you divide that 12 column layout into 3, so we've got 3 items here being displayed in this little grid. So 12 divided by 3 is 4, so 4 each on these. So that's why it's got the 4U. And then on the last one, I think this here is like a clear. So it applies. Let me just have a look, see if there's some sort of clear. Let's see what we're getting from the 4U with the $sign. I'm not sure, but I think let's have a play with it. So if I was to delete that $sign and delete the one further down as well, then it would probably break the layout. So yeah, it sort of breaks it. So we should see that what we wanted really was for this one to start over to the left. And I think that's what was happening with that, with the $sign. So that's why we were using the $sign on that there. So if I refresh the page again, those temporary changes that I made in the browser have gone and it flows nicely again. So let's have a look at doing that ourselves in Umbraco. So what we can do is we can create a property, a new data type. And this data type I've not created any data types yet. So what I like to do with data types is create a folder called custom. And that is basically saying that anything that's not in this folder is all part of what you get with Umbraco. But anything in this folder is all custom ones that I've created. So I've created that folder. I just clicked on the dots and did create folder. Now in that folder I want to create a new data type and I want to call it image list. Or yeah, image list is fine. And then it needs to be a multimedia picker? So a media picker, and I want to pick multiple items, and I want to pick only images, and I don't want to be able to pick a folder. And if I wanted to, I can choose a starting node from within the images folder. So if I wanted to, I could only let it pick from this folder here, demo images. So if I click on save, then when it comes to using this, so if I go into document types, compositions, create a composition document type without a template and call this image list controls, add a new tab and just say image list. Image list. Then add a property. So image list. Might not be able to do a property the same name as the tab, but we shall see. So enter choose the images to show in the list. Add the editor. So go to reuse and then pick, just start typing, find the one and then submit. So I'm going to hit save. So I want this to be available on my content templates. So if I on my content document types, I'll click on content, go to compositions, choose image list controls and then submit and then save. So now if I go into this image list, if I go into a content page, click on image list, I can now pick several of these images. So that's how you pick multiple images to show up. And I think what will happen with this is these will be I publish content items or something like that. So I'll just have a list of items that I can loop through to render onto the page. So let's have a go at doing that. So in order to do that, what I want to do in Umbraco, in Visual Studio, is go to the views, go to elements, actually, and then I'm just going to take this little section out that renders those images. I'm going to take that. I'm going to create myself a partial view in content, and I'm just going to call it a new view. So I right clicked on the folder, add new view. I'm just going to call it image list. It's going to be empty without a model, create as a partial view, and then add. So for now I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to get it rendering first of all. I'm going to paste that there. And I need to just fix these references to the images. So I'll do Control H, where it starts quote images. I'm just going to make it start quote leading / images and replace all. So I've got that, and then what I want to do on the content template for now on all of them is to, after the content, just render that partial view. So the same way that we call them from the home template at the moment, I'm just going to call them like that on here. So that is content and then image list. So that's the first stage of implementing this. So now I'm going to refresh, and we should find that it just loads the list of images. So fingers crossed it works and there's no errors. So scroll down. So we've got the fit and all of that. So that did work. However, what's also happened is that it's broken out of the template, if you will. So it's not in any sort of container element or anything like that. So we need to find out where that needs to go. So I think all I need to do is actually just grab that and put it after the main content inside the inner div. Refresh the page. Yeah, and so that's obviously worked. And I think in doing the images thing, I've also pulled through the example part of the images there. So let's just go to image list. Yeah, so I've pulled those through as well. So I didn't need those on this, so I'm just going to delete those. Right, so what we want to do then is we want to grab from that page. So using the current page that it's assigned to, so I'll do @inherits Umbraco view page, and then I'll open out a code block and I'll just say var images, no, actually IEnumerable publish content, I think that's what they'll come out as, and call them images equals umbraco.assigned content item .get property value, and I won't dictate what they should come back as at the moment, but it might need me to. So the next thing I need to say to it is the name of the property. So if we go into here, it's image list, lowercase I, lowercase l, uppercase L. So it might need me to dictate what the type is of that, so that's fine. I'll put that in the angle brackets there. So it's happy with that. And I think I've got an extra one of those, so I'm just going to save that and give it a refresh. So we shall see if there's any errors first of all by doing that. And hopefully there won't be. Yes, there is. So I'm saying images equals this get values, and that's complaining about it. So as with most of my videos, seem to have some sort of error. So what's it saying about it? Oh, I missed the angle bracket off. I removed it by mistake. I shouldn't have removed that one. Give it a refresh again. Okay, so it's not complaining now. And what we can do just to check is just render out on the page. Just do @images.count. Just to see how many it thinks it's found. So we go to there. So this number 5 there. So that's a good sign. So what we can do is we can, using that, maybe we want to say that the first one is a full width one. So we can get the first one by doing, so what we can say first of all is just to say at if images is not null and images.count is greater than 0. If that's the case, then let's actually do something with it. So then we'll put this whole section inside there. Right. Oh, and the count is actually a method, not a property on this. So if there's anything to do with it, then that will make sure that this is actually rendering because it's not null. So that's good. So next, I'm not going to worry about the title or the subtitle. This is just for demoing how you can do this. This isn't necessarily needed on this site, but let's just say gallery or something like that. Examples. So the first one here, what we can do is we can say, so we're always going to have a first one because we wouldn't got into this anyway. So then what we can do is we can just do at images.first.url and just delete that and just make that a method and hit save. So let's refresh that. So that should render the image fine. So it has rendered it fine, but it's a square image, not a rectangular image. So one other thing that I can show you about this is that you can reorder these by dragging them into a different order and then choose save and publish. So now that I've dragged the rectangular one over instead of using the square one first, when I refresh this page, it's got the rectangular one, so it looks better. So it is in proportion. Another thing that we can do though is if you didn't necessarily want to have to do that, you just wanted the first one always to do that and you wanted it to be in that proportion, what you can do is you can inspect this and see what the size is. So the size that you want to render it out at is 1024 by 478. So you can just, on the end of the URL, so if I wrap this in rounded brackets and then on the end of the URL, I can say width, query string width equals 1024 and height equals 478 and mode equals crop and anchor equals center. Save that, refresh on the front end. That's fine with the image that's already there, but just to demonstrate I can drag that one back over here now, save and publish, and you should see that the proportion won't be affected. It's a bit grainier because the image that we're using there is a smaller image, but you get the idea, it kept the size for it. So let's move along. So that's for the first image because that's using the 12U, and again it's got this like a clearing $sign there to mean that the next ones in the grid start to the left, I think. So do at for each. I'm going to say I publish content and I'm going to say image in images. So for the rest, but I need to do images.skip and then 1. So skip the first one. We've used the first one. Then I want to just put it in here. I'm going to delete all the rest of them. And then I'm just going to say image. I'm just going to copy this and put it in the source. I'm going to inspect this here to find out what the size that it wants to render at. 320 by 233. So that means I can use any image in there now. Save that, and then it should, oh no, I need to do image instead of images, and I need to take off first because I'm actually just using this image here in the for each loop. Save that and refresh. So now the remaining items, so let's have a look. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the remaining items are rendering out as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it is floating over to the left, but I'm sure that that wouldn't be. If I had the others there as well, I think that would break. So I'm going to add some more images in. So I'm going to just do an upload and re-add. I'm going to do cancel. I'll just copy image address. I'm just going to add this one a few times. I think, yeah, I don't think I can add the same images again. I don't think it works like that. Oh, it does. Fair enough. Right, so I've got a load of images. Let's have a look at this now. So this should break. It's not breaking. That's interesting. So what does that anchor do? That's the question. But it seems to like it anyway. So I've got my grid of images. Yeah, quite happy with that. And it didn't need the anchor thing. Strange. Didn't need to do it. So that was the last point as well then, just showing you how you can use the multi-image picker and render the grid of images. So now we've got all those items on there. I've shown you how to use the media section, and just so now that we've got a lot more images in there, if we go to media, go on to demo images and click on this view, we can change it to the list view, and we can then tick multiple things, and you can choose an action to do with those multiple selections all at once. Right, so I think we'll leave it there then. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed this video, please click on like, subscribe to my channel. I hope you're following along as well by downloading the template and doing it yourself. Please remember as well that if you did sign up and download the template from the Pixelarity website, you get access to all 96 of his templates. That's if he's not done any more since. So it's really good. But the best thing to do is download them all whilst you've got the 3-month membership on this site. And that way you can use them at any time after that as well. So for that $19, when it's expired, it doesn't matter because you paid and you were a member at one stage, so you can use all of those templates. And I've had a look at some of the templates, and they use similar markup to this site here, so that's pretty good as well, especially the recent ones. So he does like an elements page, a home page, and a generic page, and they seem to have the same sort of markup, but just it'll be with like a different skin, different layout. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you, bye.